Hello everyone, thank you for being bored enough to watch this video. So the book today I'm going to review, it's been on my TBR forever. I just keep forgetting to order it from Thrift Books. Still not a paid endorsement, but I just ordered 4 books for under $40. So you can't beat that. And one of them was brand new because it just came out. So they do have new books on there. If you can't, you're grossed out or skeeved by thrift books. So this one is called I'll Be Gone in the Dark, One Woman's Obsessive Search for the Golden State Killer. And that one woman is Michelle McNamara. Now, the way I first came into knowing about the Golden State Killer is because of her. So they were calling him by 2 acronyms, EAR and ONS. Yes, I can't say what they are if I want to keep my kids' rating, but she was the one who gave him the name of the Golden State Killer because he didn't just focus on one part of the state. So if it wasn't for Michelle McNamara, there wouldn't be such a high profile of this killer. So, having said that, before I get into it, I do want to give Patton Oswalt, her husband, a huge shout out for a number of reasons, but I don't want to take everybody's time here. First of all, the way he supported her while she was doing the research is just unheard of. Especially, and I know he's an actor, he's a comedian, so he has flexibility in his schedule, whereas someone with a set schedule, 5 to 6 days a week does not. But he saw her as a partner. And, if you saw it, and she talks about this in her book, she has a lot of guilt about the relationships she kind of put on the back burner while doing the research because she really wanted to catch this guy. Let me strike that. She wanted the guy to be caught. She didn't care if it was her, but she was doing all the research to help the authorities out. Another thing is, unfortunately, she died before this book could be published. She did an LA Times article that named him because he didn't even have a name. Like I said, he went by the 2 acronyms. And she had an undiagnosed heart condition. And she also suffered from insomnia, which is also addressed in this book. She was very open about how she was feeling during the process of researching this guy. So that's what I loved about it. So when she died and it wasn't finished, he could have easily just, put it in storage, bagged it, he didn't have to have it published. He didn't have to pay her 2 researchers to continue the book without her. So, and those 2 people are Paul Haynes and Billy Jensen. And they helped her with her research and they finished the book. So I always will support Patton Oswalt. Loved the 1% game show you had this past summer. Brilliant. Loved it. Loved seeing how stupid I was. I would be stupid on really easy questions, but then I would get the hard questions later. I don't know. It was weird. It was a study of the brain as well. All right, so we go back into the 70s, mid to late 70s, early 80s. The last time he had a victim was in 86, which, I live on the other coast, so I didn't really know about this guy until she wrote the LA Times article. The media picked it up and it was out in, pop culture. So he had a process, had a signature. And what I love about this book is, I can only take so much. I don't like horror books because, unlike a movie, you can just be like, oh, I'm going to the kitchen now, or you just cover your eyes. When you're reading a book with, such gruesome details, your brain is kind of like, okay, oh, he's done killing. Okay, I can continue reading. It was almost as if she knew. I would also give credit to her editor, whoever that person was, because she kind of knew, like, ooh, this is too much. I got to scale this. I got to stop now. And she showed the humanity, and that's what I love about the format of this book. Um, they did not catch him before she died. So she was writing this book. He hadn't been caught. She passed away. And then when this book was published and Patton was out on the road doing, and I love how it says soon to be an HBO documentary series, when he was filming the series is when they caught him. So it's just fascinating because they didn't have the technology we have now. They did have DNA samples, but CODIS wasn't where it was. Ancestry.com and 23andMe were established. So it took some time, and he was really smart. Now, this book, again, what I love about it is it doesn't really address who he was and why he did it. This is the how and the why she wanted him caught. So you can find another book, listen to another podcast. It's not going to be in here. So I love the fact that they name him. They also have a picture of him, which she does have a lot of pictures in here, but the editor, Patton, whomever put this book together, were very conscientious and did not put his picture with his victims. And there's one picture, and it's horrible, and he was in his 70s when he was arrested. So I'm just glad they caught him. I'm not going to show you the picture, but so I really am glad I read this book because I did watch like I said, I heard it on podcasts. When he was caught, I was listening to NPR when I used to listen to NPR. And her name was the one I was like, oh my God, she died before they caught him, but they caught him. And then one of the officers, lead investigators, not just somebody mediocre male who, fell up, during the press conference when they were talking about him. And they did use the name she gave this serial killer in the press conference. But when asked, and I'm not going to say this guy's name, how much do you think Michelle McNamara helped lead to the arrest of this man? He said no. She basically gave her life for this research to make sure he was caught. You couldn't say, oh, she worked with our investigators, she helped our investigators look at things differently, she found names, she got Orange County in California to give us boxes of evidence. You couldn't say that. You couldn't say, well, she was definitely part of the team, because I understand he was protecting his team and wanted his team to get the credit they deserved. Hello, she was the one who brought it to mainstream. Cold cases die because they don't get any attention. She brought it to the attention. She did all the work. She had a blog trying to get this guy. You couldn't just say, yes, she was definitely a factor. Just like my investigators, just like the crime lab technicians, you couldn't make her part of the team. So that made me angry because I remember hearing that. I gasped. I was like, but it's addressed in the book. And in the HBO series, it's interesting because he was doing this to promote the book, the sales of the book, and they found him. And they were able, Paul, I think, was the one who recorded his reaction because it was like their phone started buzzing at like 4 a.m. and they got Patton's reaction. And it was so emotional. And I choke up now, but it just shows what a great marriage they had, not perfect, I'm not saying perfect, but that they supported each other. And he made sure that her legacy continued. So, again, when I read the reviews for the HBO series, everybody in some form or another said it's not as good as the book. The book is better, which we tend to say. So they weren't wrong. I highly recommend it. It's a quick read. It's disturbing because he was a sick individual, but just brilliant research, and her writing is it shows the humanity of not only her but of the victims, which is what she wanted to show, that these were true victims. And her honesty, she grew up in Oak Park, Illinois. I think that's where Obama lives. It's not she wasn't like, I came from a poor. No, she didn't do that. She, said I had an affluent upbringing. What started her on the true crime series train is a girl was jogging at night and was killed a couple of roads down from her, and they never solved that murder as far as I know. They hadn't as of the book being written. So that kind of started her on the why aren't neighbors taking care of neighbors? And she includes a story where she was home alone during the day and the doorbell rang. And I don't like answering the door. I am like her. So they didn't have cameras like everyone does now. And she just kind of peeked through the window and she saw that it was a young black man, not the FedEx guy, and was like, they're probably, selling something and I'm just not in the mood to tell someone no. So she ignored it. About 15 to 30 minutes later, she's leaving in her car and she notices another young black male, and he acts suspicious when he sees her pull out of her driveway. And her gut told her to call 911. But she said, I had the 9, I had the 1 dialed, and then I thought, am I being racist? There are 2 young black men in my neighborhood. They could legitimately be selling, stuff, trying to do a fundraiser, so she let it go. And then it turns out that they had robbed her neighbor's house, that she didn't even know his last name. And as of writing this book, she's, still admitted, I don't know the guy's last name. So again, people judge, and the 70s and 80s were a time to be alive, let me tell you. But people just didn't take care of each other. The boomers are the me generation for a reason. They didn't look out for each other. So she even admits, here I'm doing all this research and questioning, why wouldn't a neighbor help a neighbor out? And she understood why. So again, it's called I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is what he said to one of his victims. If you move, you'll be forever silent, and I'll be gone in the dark. And it's by Michelle McNamara. And again, thank you to Patton Oswalt for just letting her dream live. All right, thank you. Like, share, subscribe.